Most men don't lose respect when they fail. They lose it when they react emotionally. Not when they're challenged, not when someone disagrees with them, but in the exact moment they lose control of themselves. The moment your voice changes, the moment your face shows irritation, the moment you feel the need to explain yourself, you already lost authority. Because authority is not built on what you say, it's built on what you control. And emotional men don't control anything. They react too fast. They speak too much under pressure. They try to prove themselves. They try to fix how others see them. And every time they do that, they drop lower. Because every emotional reaction sends a signal. It shows that something affected you. It shows that your state can be influenced. It shows that you are not fully in control. And people notice that instantly, not consciously, but psychologically. The moment someone sees that you react easily, they understand something important about you. You can be moved. And if you can be moved, you can be controlled. That's how authority starts to disappear. Not in one moment, but in small reactions. A slight раздражение, a defensive tone, a need to respond quickly. Each one gives away a piece of your position. Now compare that to a calm man. He doesn't react immediately. He doesn't rush to speak. He doesn't defend himself emotionally. He pauses, and that pause creates tension, because people expect a reaction. They are used to emotional feedback. But when it doesn't come, something shifts. They start thinking. They start questioning themselves. They start adjusting their behavior, because now they don't know how to read you. And when people can't read you, they can't control you. That's where authority begins. Not in dominance, not in loudness, but in control. Because the moment people realize they cannot control your emotions, they stop trying to control you. And that is the moment respect starts. Most men believe that reacting emotionally makes them look strong. They think showing anger proves dominance. They think defending themselves instantly shows confidence. They think speaking louder gives them control. But in reality, it does the exact opposite. Because authority is not built on expression, it is built on restraint. The more you react, the more you reveal. And the more you reveal, the easier it becomes for people to understand how to deal with you. Every reaction gives information. It tells people what affects you. It tells them what triggers you. It tells them how to move you emotionally. And once people understand that, they don't need to challenge you directly. They simply use it. Think about how most social interactions actually work. People don't always attack openly. They test. A sarcastic comment, a slight disrespect, a dismissive tone, a challenge in front of others. These are not random moments. They are signals, and every signal is followed by observation. They are watching how you respond. If you react immediately, you give them everything they need. You show irritation. You show pressure. You show that something got to you. And that moment shifts the power. Because now you are reacting to them, not leading the interaction. The one who reacts is always following, and the one who stays calm is always in control. This is why emotional men slowly lose authority. Not because they are weak, but because they are predictable. People know exactly what will happen if they push them. They know they will react. And once your behavior becomes predictable, your position becomes weak. Because predictability removes uncertainty, and uncertainty is what creates respect. Now compare that to a man who doesn't react instantly. When he is tested, he pauses. No rush, no emotia, no need to respond immediately. He lets the moment sit, and that creates discomfort, because people expect movement. They expect reaction, but instead, they get silence. And silence under pressure is powerful, because it forces the other person to think. Instead of controlling the situation, they start questioning themselves. Instead of pushing further, they hesitate. And hesitation shifts control. This is the real difference. Emotional men react and lose position. Calm men pause and gain control. Because the moment you stop reacting automatically, you stop giving people access to your behavior. And when people lose access to your reactions, they lose the ability to control you. There is another reason emotional men lose authority, and most people never notice it. They don't just react, they overreact. And overreaction destroys positioning faster than anything else. Because when a man reacts too strongly to a small situation, it creates a mismatch. The situation is small, but the reaction is big. And that instantly signals something is off. It shows that the reaction is not about the situation. It's about internal instability. Think about it. If someone makes a small sarcastic comment and you respond with irritation, tension, or a need to defend yourself, people don't see strength. They see sensitivity. And sensitivity in social dynamics is dangerous. Because it tells people exactly where your weak points are. It shows them what gets to you. And once someone knows what gets to you, they don't need to guess anymore. They can use it. This is why emotional men often feel like they are constantly being tested. Because they are. Not intentionally at first. But once people notice reactions, they start pushing more. A little more sarcasm, a little more pressure, a little more challenge. And each time you react, you confirm something. You confirm that the pressure works. And pressure that works will always be repeated. This creates a loop. You react, then they push more, then you react again, then they push further. And slowly, without realizing it, you lose your position. Not because someone took it from you, but because you gave it away through reactions. Now compare that to a man who controls himself. When something small happens, he doesn't amplify it. He keeps his reaction proportional, or even lower than expected. And that creates a completely different signal. It shows stability. It shows that small things don't affect him. It shows that his emotional state is not easily disturbed. And that changes how people behave around him. They stop testing small things. Because small things don't work, they stop using pressure. Because pressure has no effect. And over time, they stop trying altogether. Because they understand something very clearly. This man is not easy to move. And when a man is not easy to move, he becomes difficult to challenge. That's why calm men don't need to prove strength. Their behavior proves it for them. Not through reaction, but through restraint. In the end, authority is not something you claim. It's something people feel. And what they feel is based on one thing: how stable you are under pressure. Most men lose authority because they focus on the wrong thing. They focus on what to say. They focus on how to sound confident. They focus on how to prove themselves. But none of that matters if you can't control your reactions. Because people don't measure you by your words. They measure you by your behavior in tense moments. When something goes wrong, when someone challenges you, when pressure appears, that's when your real position becomes visible. And emotional men fail in those moments, not because they are weak, but because they are controlled by the situation. They react too fast, they speak too much, they try to fix how they are perceived, and every one of those actions lowers their authority, because it shows dependency. Dependency on approval, dependency on being understood, dependency on the outcome of the interaction. But authority requires the opposite. It requires independence. Independence from reactions. Independence from pressure. Independence from how others behave. A man with authority does not need to react immediately. He does not need to defend himself emotionally. He does not need to prove anything in the moment. He stays still. and that stillness creates weight. Because when you don't react, people are forced to sit with the tension they created. They don't get the feedback they expected. They don't get the reaction they were looking for. And that creates discomfort. But that discomfort is not yours. It becomes theirs. And this is where the shift happens. Instead of you trying to manage the situation, they start managing themselves. They adjust their tone. They choose their words more carefully. They stop pushing. Because they realize something important. You are not easy to influence. And when someone is not easy to influence, they become difficult to control. That is the foundation of authority. Not dominance, not aggression, not loudness, control. Control over your reactions, control over your timing, control over your presence. Because the moment you control yourself, you remove the only tool weak people have against you. And without that tool, they have nothing. That's why emotional men lose authority. And calm men never have to ask for it. They already have it, because they don't give it away.